We're going to review the new one from Andrew W.K. His album's called You're Not Alone. Singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, producer, writer, TV and radio personality. He does it all. And this is his 5th studio album. Most of you might know him from his rock heavy metal album from 2001, the debut album I Get Wet, thanks to like the monstrous party classics Party Hard and the single She Is Beautiful. You may be wondering how you missed all the albums in between from then to now. So here's a little background about every release that came out between 2001 and this one we're talking about. 2003, the album The Wolf was a more softer rock album, unlike the debut. Not only did it show Andrew could write music that's insightful with the lyrics, but he also played all the instruments on the album by himself. The album was successful, but not as recognized as the sound on I Get Wet, so that was the problem with that. The next album he put out in 2006, Close Calls with Brick Walls, featured a traditional rock and less screaming vocals. Very polarizing reaction from critics and fans. Only released in Japan and Korea, and it was not actually released worldwide until 2010.
Weird.
Yeah. So he's big in Japan for some reason. Then,
like Uncle Jesse.
Then in 2009, the album he released, the 4th one called 55 Cadillac, was actually an instrumental new age rock album that mostly featured piano solo interpretations and improvisations. That one may have been under your radar a bit.
That sounds fucking unbearable, I gotta be honest.
Yeah. So in between releasing records, Andrew has written articles for like The Village Voice and AV Club, produced and done guest vocals on several artists' albums, hosted shows on MTV and VH1, and opened a nightclub in Manhattan. So this guy's been busy.
Closed down a few years later.
Yeah, true. Thanks for reminding us of that. Trying to highlight his successes, and Drew's right there to tear him down.
I mean, you should have seen that coming, though.
Yeah,
nightclub in Manhattan? Jesus Christ.
Well, it's Andrew W.K. You assume it'd be like, oh my, the line would be down
Only
the block.
if you got like a $50 cover.
Yeah. So as you guys can hear, with any Andrew W.K. album, you never know what kind of sound to expect. But if you're hoping for another I Get Wet, spoiler alert, abandon all hope now. Instead, we get 13 tracks of uplifting piano-laced rock tunes that range from sonically inspired power ballads to stuff you'd expect to hear during a workout montage in an 80s movie. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I did have trouble rating this album because I always kept asking, is this serious or some very committed joke he's doing?
That's a good question to ask.
Yeah. So I'll just dive into some songs that I noticed a comparison to another sound. Songs like Music Is Worth Living For and the song The Devil on Your Side, they kind of have like this glam rock and occasional falsetto vocals you expect to hear from a band like The Darkness. Whereas like a track like Party Mindset and Total Freedom, and even the song Keep On Going, like have like a post-punk new wave vibe, which Andrew's vocals sound reminiscent of Dave Bowie. Now, did you notice that at all, especially with the song Total Freedom, that he's sounding a lot like Dave Bowie or any other artist that you picked up on?
No, I felt like he sounds like himself, but kind of not powerful. And I think that was the first thing I noticed and continued to notice through the rest of the album is it is really not very thick. Like the production kind of sucks on it.
Really?
Yeah. Now that you read off his entire discography, I realize I'm not that familiar with him. I only really know I Get Wet.
Yeah, so
and I haven't ever heard that album in its entirety.
That's why this review helped you guys out there, because if you're like Drew and like myself in a way, it's like you want that same thing, and that's what he tours doing mostly. But he's not doing that on this album.
That was a really heavy album.
Yeah.
Like, not musically, but like the way it was produced. It was very thick and just dense and hard. It was kind of like a soft rock album, but it was produced really well, and his vocals were very like
commanding.
Yeah, exactly. And this album is just kind of very thin and kind of wispy. And I realize on this album he's not much of a singer.
Well, yeah, he's more of like a talker. We'll get
He
into
needs
a
like a
second,
lot of effects on his vocals to be any like very good at all. And I don't even think he was like going for like I want to sound like David Bowie. He was just singing, and it was like, oh, you don't have like a ton of effects on your vocals. That's the
Yeah.
problem here. That's
Yeah.
why you don't sound like yourself.
So I guess you're saying you didn't pick up that he's influenced by anything. It's just he's just blah, putting it out not like that. He's just like here, like
Yeah.
lightly tossing it to you. Okay, I'll say that. I think some songs on here did have kind of an old school Andrew W.K. sound.
Yeah, there were a couple, but not
like
many.
yeah, the ones I can think of is the song "I Don't Know Anything." It's got like kind of a
That-
punkier hard rock tune. The song "The Party Never Dies" has a very mid-tempo pace, but very commanding vocals. I will say his vocals do seem commanding on some songs, but nowhere near on his first album. But I guess that's what some people are hoping for. I thought that song would be a good opener for a show. The Party Never Dies. I just want to say, actually, the party songs to me seems like they're not about a literal party. It's more about the metaphoric sense of like a party being living life. Because
I think that you're only trying to read something into this album that because they are so jarring. So you're like, well, clearly it's not a bunch of songs about partying and then a bunch of songs about not killing yourself. Because who would do that? No, I think he did that. I think that was the point. And I feel like all those songs about partying come off forced, where he's like, well, I got to put some songs about partying on here because that's what I'm known for. So
right. I agree with that, but you think the song was about literally a party?
yes.
It doesn't even make you want to party when you hear it.
No, of course not.
So I guess. Now, that gets to the point, like, which is funny, like, there's 3 tracks on this album where it's, like, spoken, like, affirmation words, like, about a minute of him talking, like, you can do it. Now, what's funny about that is I listen to this album on Spotify, and I have the Spotify version where it's, like, free, so there's ads in between songs. So it's, like, the song would end, and then it's just talking. I'm like, dude, what is this thing product even for? Like, it's just someone, you can do it, you're the best, blah blah. And then another song, like, what was that even for? It took me like 3 interludes before I realized like it's part of the album. So
It's like the Super Bowl ads don't even make any sense anymore. What are they trying to sell?
yeah,
Andrew W.K. just came on and told me to not kill myself and to live life to its fullest, and then he left. What is this for?
yeah. I didn't even realize it was him at first because it's just weird because it's just him talking. But like, did you? I think I want to honestly say I wasn't shocked after I realized it was him because Andrew W.K. also does like the self-help motivational speeches at different like colleges and stuff like that. So I guess it's not too surprising to put interludes like that on the album, but I won't deny that it comes off a little corny.
Yeah, because I'm trying to listen to some fucking music, not trying to, live my life to its
I'm not in a seminar, goddammit. I'm listening to an album. Yeah.
I didn't put on the new Tony Robbins album. I put on an Andrew W.K. album. I expected a little bit more than this.
So you give him no slack for that at all.
I think it's fine. I'm glad that I can appreciate it for what it is, but it's like just make some tunes, like, or just give up on the whole like, oh, we're gonna party thing. Yeah. It's weird. Mm-hmm. Don't be like, come on, you can do it. Live your life to its fullest. Don't give up, and also party, and it just comes out. It's so inauthentic.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'll say this song like Ever Again. I thought was pretty decent. There's no song on here that really like grabbed me by the balls that I was expecting for.
There was no song that really hit me at all. I thought every single song on here was kind of lame. There's actually a couple of songs that I feel like it gets weird on the back half. Mm. Well, first off, what was there, like 15 songs on this fucking thing?
Yeah.
Too many. Stop it.
Well, if you took the interludes out, there would be less. Would that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think he's very self-aware.
Which is surprising because he wears the same clothes everywhere, so I thought he would be in on the quote-unquote joke. I guess there's not really much more to say about it. I guess I'll go first. My rating, like,
go for it.
The title track, I think, sums up the whole album, though. Make your dreams your destiny and do what must be done. That's basically what he's saying on this whole record. Though the song titles and the lyrics seem like words, a wisdom you'd find on a cat poster, there's no denying how talented this man is at writing beautiful, catchy hooks, interweaving piano keys and melody into enthusiastic hard rock. I have to say I disagree with you, Drew. Like, I think the songs, the way he can write a song and produce it, like to put that piano into like a rock song, it doesn't sound jarring. It blends so well.
I will say this: I respect him that he's able to write and play every instrument on an album. That's not something I could do.
Yeah, and I don't see myself listening to this whole album ever again, though. A little pun on one of the song titles. But if you like hard rock, but you hate yourself to the point you're contemplating suicide, I think that this album serves a better purpose than listening to Ozzy Osbourne's Suicide Solution. So, hey, download it. Check it out. It's not that bad.
I'm going to disagree. If you
love it,
if you want some hard rockin' songs and you're thinking about killing yourself, listen to the last Hatebreed album, and that'll set you on your path. So, listen, while I can appreciate the anti-suicide, anti-depression subject matter for a lot of these songs and the PMA spoken word pieces in between, it's the only thing that's remotely decent about this album. The music is dated and boring and frequently doesn't seem to fit the subject matter. WK's party boy shtick is really starting to feel inauthentic and overdone, and juxtaposed with songs about suicidal ideation and depression makes it seem like his entire career has been a weird facade to hide this sad, depressed self. If you're ever curious what a cry for help would look like in musical form, then I'd give this a listen, but otherwise skip it.
Okay. No songs he enjoyed. I got a couple that were okay, but what did you think of this album? Let us know. Send us a comment of what you thought in the comment section, or send us a link to email